What do you got cooking?
Oh, I've got so many things cooking at the moment. So one of the main things that I've got cooking at the moment is my new book. Yeah, so I signed a contract with Passage Press, the good people at Passage Press, Mr. Lomez and
Mm,
others, and for a new book. And the new book is called The Last Men, Liberalism and the Death of Masculinity. And basically it's kind of a continuation of the themes of The End of Men, the documentary I was in, the Tucker Carlson
yes.
documentary about testosterone decline and masculine decline as a political phenomenon, biological phenomenon. Um, so yes, it's picking up on the themes of that documentary and really sort of running with them. But um, I'm framing it in an interesting way. So I'm framing it along the lines of Francis Fukuyama's end of history thesis, because there's
Yes.
something. I mean, a lot of people read Francis Fukuyama or say that they've read Francis Fukuyama and think that they know what he was talking about in The End of History and The Last Men, or The Last Man rather. But actually, they don't really. They don't. They sort of have this vague idea that he was this, silly idiot who thought that history had come to an end in 1990 when the Berlin Wall fell,
Mm,
and that isn't the truth. I mean, the book actually is the book great. I mean, I
okay.
go back and read the book, 3 or 4 times, I think. It's a great book. It's very subtle, and he makes a very, very powerful argument about not only about liberalism, about the triumph of liberalism over communism and alternative forms of government, but also about the limitations of liberalism and liberal democracy and capitalism. So people get the first part of the title, they get the end of history, they get that bit, they remember that, but they forget the second part of the title, which is "and the last man."
Okay.
Uh, and that's actually, like a quarter or a fifth of the book is dedicated actually to uh, a Nietzschean
Right.
critique of the limitations of liberal democracy as
A
a
hat
form.
tip to Nietzsche's Last Men.
Yeah, exactly, and it's totally Nietzschean. I mean,
Mm,
Fukuyama is totally on board with the Nietzschean critique of liberal democracy and of the kind of people that liberal democracy produces,
okay.
the kind of life that it supports. Basically, an empty sort of consumerist
Yeah.
lifestyle with absolutely no striving for higher values, absolutely no outlets for what the ancient Greeks called thymos, and in particular megalothymia. This is the desire that all men have, according to the Greeks, and I agree with this, to seek distinction over others,
Mm,
over their peers and competitors. So, the Greeks recognize that actually men want to strive to be better than others. Men want to strive to be higher in the hierarchy, etc. And so Fukuyama basically makes the argument that actually the triumph of liberal democracy is basically the death of thymos, and liberal democracy offers no real outlets for men to distinguish themselves,
mm,
not in a truly meaningful sense, in a satisfying way. And so Fukuyama says, well, basically, look, this is a fatal flaw of liberalism.
okay.
We don't really know what to do about it, but what will probably happen is that actually you're going to have people revolting against liberalism, against liberal democracy, and you'll have these, Fukuyama calls them immense wars of the spirit, where
Okay.
people are literally going to a kind of a violent spiritual revolt against liberalism because it's so unsatisfying from a standpoint of values and ideals, but also a biological standpoint. And that's where I'm coming in with this, picking up the themes from the End of Men, the Tucker Carlson documentary. So I'm saying, like, look, thymos isn't just psychological phenomenon. Thymos isn't just a psychological thing; it's also biological. Thymos is testosterone,
Okay.
and so what we have, liberalism is an assault on thymos on the values level, but also at a biological level too, because we're exposed to endocrine disruptors and all
Mm.
this dreadful food. And so I'm kind of,
Microplastics in your balls now and everything
yeah,
else.
yeah, exactly, in your balls and in your brain and in your
Mm,
eyes and everywhere else.
mm,
And so it's sort of like, I suppose the way you could frame the book is it's like it's Fukuyama, but even more pessimistic about liberalism than Fukuyama. So it's picking up the Fukuyama Fukuyama's analysis of liberal democracy and taking it further and saying, actually, no, it's liberalism is an assault on us physically. It's a biological assault on masculinity and testosterone, thymos, whatever you want to call it.